And I know that we had originally said this was going to be our wrap time, but don't go anywhere because Aisha is bringing us home and I can't wait for you to hear what she has to say. We love Aisha. She's talking about carving out space for you. And you definitely need to be following her on social at the Aisha Rose on Insta. She's Strength of She as well. I don't want to delay anymore. Let's get her in here. Hope you're ready for us. Here she comes. Hello, hello.
Hi.
We're so glad you're here. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us. And hopefully next time when we actually get to see you in person, it'll be here.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm very connected to Indie Maven as well, so I'm super excited for the space.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, we don't want to delay anymore, and I'm going to go ahead and pull ourselves off screen and let you just take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So let me get my screens reoriented here. You joined this and it moves, so I understand what you meant, Elisa. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for sticking around. As she said, I know that we were at time, but I hope that this will be worthwhile for you to join me. And just to introduce myself a bit, my name is Aisha Rose. I am a 31-year-old divorced mom. I'm a creative, an entrepreneur, and I work full-time in corporate America. So as you can imagine, finding time for me doesn't always come so easy, but the journey that I've had to this point has truly taught me to prioritize myself no matter what. And so while I hope that you can really relate to my story that I'll share, I truly want by the end of our time together for you to determine areas where you can make some change, are ready to create a plan, and that you feel empowered to truly carve out space for you. And so I'm going to share a bit of my story. I was married at 23 years old, and so much of my adult identity really was centered around being a wife and honestly being immersed in starting my career. I also started blogging and founded my first business, The Strength of She, kind of during those early years of my marriage. So writing and working out and cooking were always kind of my getaways. And I truly tried to find balance within that. The balance, though, of those many hats quickly became difficult. And I am not shy. I talk about it on my platform all the time that I have struggled for years, literally since teenage years, with anxiety, with depression, with burnout. And so I had so many triggers in these areas during those early years of marriage that it really became hard to manage. But I was determined, no matter what, to be a mom. I always knew that I was going to be a mom. And I think in the back of my head, I always knew that it was going to be hard for me to get there, but it was worth it. I went through an infertility journey, and it took some years before I was able to have my son, Tristan. And he was born in February of 2018. And I was thinking, I'm about to, this is a new chapter in life. This is going to be great times, going to be family times. And I had no idea how much my life was about to change. I literally feel like I blinked and I was holding an infant. I was trying to lose 60 pounds, over 60 pounds, well over, that I gained during my pregnancy. And I realized that my marriage really wasn't on stable ground either. And they talk a lot about, how children really change your marriage dynamics. I can assume that a lot of y'all can relate to that. Feel free to add notes or add some yes girl in the chats, because I am seeing you guys add notes in here. But I looked up and we were not stable. And I knew that it was different. It was different than the uncomfortableness and the change that a lot of people talk about. And so just to kind of fast forward that journey, a year later, I was moving out of our house. And a short 4 months later, I was getting divorced. The divorce was actually final. And so I remember sitting in my new apartment and looking around and thinking, okay, now what? you know, and I'm sure that you all have had some familiar questions like this come up, whether you can relate to what I'm sharing or had a different journey of who am I? How did I even get here? Am I supposed to be here? What am I doing here? I'm going to read some of these in the chat before I keep going. Yes, 10 years. Oh my gosh, 10 years of infertility treatments. Oh, 2018, babe. Yes, I completely feel you. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I truly appreciate you all sharing these vulnerable things in the chat. And hopefully we can continue those conversations too. But those questions that I started to ask myself, they sparked an internal healing journey for me. And it was truly the birth of my first guided journal I created called the Healing Journal that came out of my divorce journey and trying to get back to who I was. And what I really found during that time was that I had neglected myself for years. I let all those many hats that I was wearing really define me. And the person that I was on the inside was not happy. She wasn't happy. She didn't feel seen. Like, of course, I'm a mom, I was a wife, I'm a creative, and all of these things, but that's not who I am. And I really had to get back to the root of who I was to find happiness, to find joy, to find purpose in a lot of my daily life. And so, how did I do that? You know, people see me now and they say, you look so happy, you look so free, you're like living your life. Like, how are you doing this as a mom? And it was really that I had to become shamelessly and unapologetic about my self-care. I truly did. And I had to learn how to carve out space for me. But what does that look like? You know, what does that look like for you? I would love to see some notes in the chat of what does carving out space look like for you? What does shameless self-care look like for you? And if you follow me on Instagram, you know I am no foreigner to massages. I get massages monthly. I get facials regularly. I go get manis and pedis and all the things. I go out with friends. I brunch. Like, those are the things that I do when I have the time, when I have the space, and when I want to care for me in those social ways. But that's not really telling you how I got there, how I've been able to carve that space. So I want to spend the next few minutes really walking you through how I got there. Number one, I had to do something radical. And I hope that you're writing these down. I had to do something radical. Even if I was afraid. For me, it was my divorce. That was truly the most shameless self-care act I've ever done. And by no means did I enter that marriage thinking I was going to get divorced. My parents have been married for over 30 years. I want to be remarried again. Like, I love relationships and marriage. But I really had to think about our circumstances, think about the situation we were in, and I chose myself. And I also gave him space to choose himself. And I was brave enough to really close that chapter and then start the next one. And so for you, this could be something similar, or this could be leaving a job. This could be starting that dream business that you wanted. This could be going back to school. Like, how can you do something radical in your life? Number two, I had to return to things that I loved, and I had to find new things. You know, I had to try something different, something new, and not get stagnant. I mentioned that I love to work out. I truly do. And if you Zumba girls out here or dance cardio girls, that is my jam. But with my busy schedule, like there was always an excuse for me not to make it. So I had to literally sit down and map out day to day, what are classes that I would enjoy and love to go to every single day of the week. Not because I had the intention to go every day, but because that way I didn't have an excuse to not make it. So I had an option. I had the ability to go. I wasn't looking and saying, oh, I have my son this night. So, oh, well, I guess I'm not working out this week. No, I can go tomorrow. I had to find that time and really make sure that I prioritized it. Number 3, I had to incorporate quiet and reflection time. And so whether that is before bed or before the start of my day, it doesn't have to be long. Like people think about this time like, oh, like I need an hour. You don't need an hour. You need 5 minutes. You need 10 minutes. How can I incorporate a few minutes to my day where it is solely for me before the chaos? Before the chaos of the kids running in your room, mom, I'm ready for school. I need breakfast. I need this, before your email starts pinging, just to sit in silence, whether that is to meditate or to journal or to do whatever feels right for you. It could be just to sit there in complete silence. How can you prioritize and find that reflection time just for you? Number 4, I had to learn to ask for help. And anyone who knows me personally knows that that is not something that I do, that I have done. And I think when we wear a lot of hats, or even when we're just moms in general, like we think that we have to wear that cape all the time. And you truly don't. Like you can take the cape off. Like you can pick like, okay, this is something I'm going to tackle for me. This is something that I can do. But then you need to find those areas and those opportunities to say, okay, this is what I can't do by myself. I'm going to call so-and-so and ask them for help. Tiffany and a few others on here, Ray, they all laughed at me over the last couple of weeks as I was preparing to move to my new home. And I truly had to pick that as a place where I said, I know I cannot do this. My anxiety isn't set up for this. My procrastination isn't set up for this. How can I ask some friends over the next couple of weeks, hey, can you come on this day? Can you help me pack on this day? Can you help me take things to Goodwill? Just come and help, so that I was not juggling this move by myself. My family, they don't live in Indianapolis. And so I don't have that network to tap into very regularly. And so having them on hand was so helpful for me as I had a busy work schedule, as I was preparing to be out for vacation. And it felt good for me to say, I asked for help for that. So how can you find areas or find opportunities to ask for help and feel good about it? And last but not least, number 5, I started to ruthlessly advocate for myself. After my son, I had left a previous company that I was with that really didn't support me during a high-risk pregnancy. I was very stressed. It did not help with my pregnancy whatsoever, but I did not have the option to quit at that time with preparing to give birth to a child. And so I stuck it out. But as soon as I saw an opportunity to leave, I did so. And I tried to find a company that was more flexible, that had more maternity leave, that really was set up for me to be a mom and be a career woman. And so 6 months postpartum, I was starting a new role in a new industry, and I felt empowered to do so. So now I work for a Fortune 500 company, and it can be very demanding. But I love my work, but it still doesn't make it any less demanding. And so and especially since I plan to be in leadership and I've been promoted numerous times, like it just, the responsibilities continue to grow. So I have made it very clear with them the restrictions that I put on my schedule. I share very openly that I'm a divorced mom, that I'm a co-parent, that some weeks I only have my son 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 nights within a week. So I'm not going to spend those days working. I'm not going to spend those nights responding to your emails. And so I'm very firm about that. I don't allow them to impede on my outside life or restrict how I can be a mom. And I also schedule my therapy appointments very regularly. I meet with my therapist, whether it's virtually or in person, weekly, and I put them on my work calendar so that they know you cannot overschedule this. I am busy. I am out. I am taking care of me during this time. I will be back, whether that's on lunch, whether that's at the end of my day. I put it into my day. And I also request support from my ex-husband. We have a great co-parenting relationship. We're still learning the ropes with one another, but we're truly there to support. So if there is an area in my life or a time in my life where I need additional time, or I need him to do some pickups, like I advocate and say, hey, I need you to do this, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if it disturbs you too, like, how can we make this work? So advocating for myself has probably been one of the most important things that I've done. And so there you have it. Those are my quick and dirty 5 ways that I have made the space, made myself have the space for me, is truly by doing something radical, returning to the things that I love, incorporating time to be quiet and reflect, asking for help, and advocating for me. So I truly hope that you all have received that. I hope that they have been beneficial tips to you. And I'm going to look through a few of these messages. Feel free to ask any questions. I think I might be at time, but feel free. I'm just kind of glance through here. Do not disturb his life. Yes, it is. Asking for help. Yep. Yes. And scheduling in your phone. Oh my gosh, I have so many notes and reminders in my phone. Yes, I hope that you all have enjoyed this so much. And I know that Tiffany has done a great job with adding some of my journals. You can find, I'll put the link in here. You can find all of my journals and my books right here on my shop page of my site. And I did go ahead and I added an exclusive code just for you all today, in case you're interested in any of those, that you can go and get a discount off an order. So if you just type in the code CityMoms, you're able to get that as well. So I hope that you enjoyed it. And I think that they're back on here to wrap up.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, Aisha. That was
They're
wonderful.
both like, oh, that was so nice.
Yeah. Like, and adding to cart. I feel like there's so
Yes.
many things that we're adding to cart today,
I know.
after all of these great talks. So I've got books in there, the supplements
Mhm.
from Dr.
I
Clara.
know.
I've got,
I was like, give them all to me,
Yeah.
whatever.
yes, perfection. Aisha, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate you as absolute always, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. We'll see you guys soon.
Wow. I'm like, my heart is full.
I know. What a great